So, an area that I decided to focus on was special effects. In Renaissance theater, special effects were often limited in comparison to what can be done on stage today. Renaissance theater productions would include effects like trapdoors or fireworks or early sound design elements. However, to fit a more modern time and space and audience, Julie Taymor included a plethora of special effects in A Midsummer Night's Dream. She had set pieces raising in the air, she had people in the air, she used a lot of projections and a lot of cool lighting elements. She made these changes to make audience members feel more immersed in the show, and I think it allowed contemporary audience members to feel more connected to Shakespeare's work. I feel like oftentimes Shakespeare has like a reputation of being maybe hard to understand or boring, but I think by adding so many special effects, it really helped to keep audience members engaged. Children are integrated into this dramatic world by becoming the root elementals. They add ironics to the show and enhance the world's playful atmosphere. One example of when the children's performances were interesting to me is when they first appeared. They were waving these giant sticks that had like big pieces of fabric, and they were kind of waving them back and forth through the air. And I think that like resembled like the wind and how the children were the air of this world, and there was like a lightness, and audience members kind of picked up a different, more youthful vibe because of that. And then another part that I found interesting about the children was that I noticed that they sang the lines a lot rather than spoke them. And again, I just think that added like a lightness and youthfulness to their part of the show. So something that I needed to learn more about to better understand this production was the director. Um, I had heard about Julie Taymor with like The Lion King, but I didn't really know much else about her work. So I went to her website and watched a highlight reel, and I definitely could pick up on like certain design elements that she liked to use a lot in her past shows. She had a very stark and distinctive style, and by seeing some of her other productions and then seeing A Midsummer Night's Dream, I could definitely see why she picked some of the design elements that she did. I think this production of Midsummer Night's Dream talks about identity through the casting of children as the fairies. Tamor highlighted the innocence and malleability of identity in the magical world, which in contrast or contrasted the more rigid and socially prescribed identities of the adults in Athens. In terms of power, I think Puck said something about the theme of power. Tamor cast Puck as somebody who was smaller, and then the actress who played Puck portrayed him as like mischievous and less rigid. And I think because of that, it kind of broke traditional power norms. Normally, people of power are just bigger and more strict, but Puck wasn't. And then in terms of politics, I think by casting the main characters and people with power as with diverse actors, I think it showed that or gave the theme of politics a more universal um, feel for modern audiences. So visual scene that interested me was when Puck first entered Fairyland. He came out of like a sheet up in the air, and then there was like this like darkness, blackness, like lightning that was kind of starting to fill the sheet, and then Puck like split out of the middle and like came down head first onto the stage, and I just thought that was a really cool moment in the show. And then two questions that I'd like my peers to discuss. One, what was your favorite design element of the show and why? And two, how does the use of music and sound contribute to the mood of the play, especially in scenes of magic or conflict?